I will begin recording now, you guys. Okay, Angeliki, the floor is yours.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I know your situation. I know it's very hard to finish the program, but it's really worthy, especially when you have someone like Dr. Avgerinu has helped us a lot to progress and do our best. Before I go on with my presentation that we've created for, first we did a paper which is called Becoming a Learning Designer in the Age of Generative AI, and it's talking about the portfolio we created together with Dr. Avgerinu. I just wanted to show you just a little bit of the pictures of what we have created so far, because maybe you don't have an idea of what we did, okay? So before the presentation, let me show you how the portfolio looks like. Can you see? Okay. So here you see it's a web page. It's free. It's easy to create. It's the home page. So this is a picture of me, which is actually I didn't have a formal picture of me, and I took some pictures in my balcony without no makeup or anything, and then I just asked ChatGPT or Gemini, I don't remember right now. I think it was Gemini, to create a professional picture so I can upload a professional picture in my portfolio. So I hope it looks like Meets, but it's in a better version. So I started with introducing myself, and then we have this is a mind map that we created that shows how the projects were interconnected. And then we have here a description of the different projects, because we have chosen 3 projects to show. And of course, we try to be as simple as possible, because this portfolio is not for students, is for people, for industries in education. And therefore, we have to show what is it that we can offer as learning designers. And so here I have a project type, I have the audience. These are projects that I created during my master's degree: role, responsibilities, problem, challenge, process, deliverables, tool, methods. And of course, there is also the design features underneath each project. The same applies for project 2, which is learning. It's visualizing, evaluating students' performance data, learnings analytics. And in project 3, I have a storyboard prototype. You see, you can change pictures so everybody can see the pictures, what I did. And finally, I have my learning design philosophy. And we completed that with my work experience so far, which I haven't got any work experience. I haven't worked as a learning designer. I intend to, but through the program, because it had a lot of hands-on practice, we understood that, I mean, it's obvious that I have developed certain abilities and related professional development. And in the first page, I forgot to tell you about it, I also created a video. I can just show you a start of the video, which shows my journey.
My journey from teacher to educational leader to learning designer. It all started in Greece, beneath the iconic Acropolis, where my passion for teaching took root. Over time, I realized that each student's way of learning is unique and special. For 15 years, I led my own language school, fueling teamwork and leadership daily. Then life took me abroad, flying from Greece to the USA. Each step expanding on my professional vision. Immersed in cultural exchange, I gained fresh insights.
So this is my journey from TESOL to learning designing.
In December 2022, I embarked on a master's journey in learning design and technology.
What you did?
My love for teaching blossomed into pure passion for instructional design. Today, as an instructional designer, I merge pedagogy, ethics, and creativity to design solutions that make a...
Okay, I don't want to show you all. You can, of course, visit the Do Design lab and see it on your own. But I just wanted you to have an idea before my presentation. So shall I start with my presentation now?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Angeliki, I will time you, okay? So that we have
Okay,
the
just a minute.
minutes that
I'm
we
just
need.
find the first one.
Yeah, let me know.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, so let's get started. So my name is Angeliki Apostolopoulou. Today I'm sharing a deeply personal yet academically grounded journey, becoming a learning designer in the age of generative AI. This presentation is a practice-based case study focused on professional identity formation through the development of my digital portfolio, called a Do Design Lab. Since my experience in the field has so far been primarily academic, this project became both a learning laboratory and a bridge between theory, creativity, and future professional practice. So, despite 25 years of experience in TESOL, standing at the threshold of this portfolio felt paralyzing. I experienced what MIT calls blank screen syndrome, a state of cognitive paralysis triggered by an empty design space and high performance expectations. My breakthrough came when I invited generative AI into the process. It didn't create for me. Rather, it served as a low-stakes ideation partner that helped me externalize fragmented thoughts into thinking artifacts, therefore transforming initial thoughts into structures that allowed offloading. AI also helped me surface blind spots I might have overlooked and prompted me to clarify my thinking and explore structural possibilities. To ensure my portfolio was a professional piece of design, the first thing that came to mind was applying as many of Mayer's multimedia principles as possible. This is a sample of my portfolio in the Learning Design Philosophy section. You see, in my before version, I fell into the trap of academic density, long continuous passages that created brain fog for the reader. Applying the signaling principle, I directed attention to critical elements. Using the coherence principle, I stripped away extraneous jargon and enhanced cognitive clarity. Finally, I utilized the redundancy principle by replacing heavy text, in this instance with a visual skill tree, making my 25-year trajectory cognitively efficient for a recruiter to scan. Recently, I read an interesting comment by a graduate of PEX Academy made by Daniel Guimont that most instructional design portfolios focus on the final product. I mean, a polished project, a clean interface, and nice visual design. However, in today's hiring landscape, what hiring managers are increasingly looking for is evidence of how you think. I therefore needed to communicate my portfolio first as a digital handshake, or in other words, to translate my academic projects into professional evidence. More importantly, I focused on connecting my projects into a coherent narrative, showing how each artifact contributes to a broader story. A shift from simply what I did in the classroom to how I approach and solve learning problems through design. Following the principle of intentional curation, I resisted the urge to include a lot of projects in my portfolio, but instead I chose only 3. Very wisely, my mentor, Dr. Avgerinou, prompted me to include a mind map in my portfolio that indicates not only what I can build, but also show my thinking. Since my prospective area of professional work as a learning designer was education, I chose for the first project an online course blueprint that uses backward design and scaffolding. I used it as the skeleton, as the foundation. And then for phase 2, I moved on with a learning analytics project, which measures if the skeleton actually works and identifies where it breaks. Finally, the storyboard prototype, as my third project, shows ability to understand pain points and the capability to empathize and build creative solutions. Showing your work means demonstrating the unique value you bring. For me, that means showcasing the seamless integration of theory into practice, driving data-informed decisions, and maintaining a commitment to human-centered empathy and creativity. My toolkit was strategically selected. ChatGPT for brainstorming and refining narratives, posing reflective questions since it had my chat history and supported metacognition. Gemini for cross-checking interpretations, as I find it more analytical. Also was very good in creating pictures. Animaker was used for multimodal storytelling, through which I created my animated video to narrate the professional transition from visual educator to a learning designer when licensed high-end tools were inaccessible. Genially was used for interactivity to create a mind map to visualize the connection among the projects and specific learning design processes. Google Sites hosted my portfolio as it was simple, easily accessible, and free. More important than the tools, however, was the human AI human workflow. It began with my ideation, moved to AI-supported exploration, and returned to me for critical revision. Then I had the mentor's feedback, and lastly, the final refinement. This ensured that while AI provided the scaffold, I maintained full decision-making authority. In developing a Do Design Lab, AI was a collaborative partner wearing 4 distinct hats to support my professional identity formation. First, as a cognitive catalyst, it eliminated the blank screen syndrome graduate students often face, helping me translate 25 years of teaching into a structured portfolio outline. It didn't replace my thinking, it stimulated. Second, it functioned as a reflective mirror, posing critical questions that forced me to justify my design logic before the work even reached my advisor. Third, as a linguistic regulator, it served as a jargon filter, chunking dense academic passages into accessible sections and restructuring my length CV into a modern skill-based profile. Finally, it was a production enabler, assisting with technical tasks like scripting my Animaker video and enhancing personal photos into professional headshots. This human AI human loop ensures that while the AI provides the scaffold, the designer remains the architect of their own digital handshake. Therefore, generative AI worked as a linguistic and cognitive load regulator throughout my design process. If I map this to the visual structure, on the left side, we start with a human input, concept ideas, initial thoughts, rough sketches, and an overall unstructured process that existed mostly in my mind rather than on paper. At this stage, everything is still fluid, exploratory, and often not yet fully articulated. What generative AI does is force the implicit into the explicit. It catalyzes immediate specificity, loose directions, early intuitions, or vague, maybe this, moments, can't stay abstract. The tool demands they be clarified, structured, and brought into focus to be properly analyzed and built upon. In the middle section, AI becomes a reflective scaffold. It helps me interrogate my own thinking by asking, what competencies does this artifact actually demonstrate? How does this project align with my professional goals? And what assumptions am I making about my audience or future employers? So rather than simply generating output, it supports me in surfacing the reasoning behind the design decisions I'm making. And then on the right side, we arrive at the reflected output. This is where everything becomes more intentional and structured. Articulated competencies, clarified audience assumptions, refined design decisions, and synthesized insights. It is also where a critical reflective moment appears. Is this what I actually do? A moment of checking alignment between intention, process, and professional identity. So ultimately, the product is not just a final artifact. It is a translation of thinking into form. It raises the deeper question. Have I managed to represent my way of working clearly enough for prospective employers in the field I want to enter? And does this output genuinely reflect who I am as a professional? As we look at the SWOT analysis of using AI to build my portfolio, I want to pull back the curtain on a paradox. While AI is a powerful tool for accelerating brainstorming, my deepest learning actually came from confronting its weaknesses and threats. Here is the tension. AI instantly cured my blank screen syndrome, but it also induced a sterile, refined tone that threatened to bury my authentic academic voice. On top of that, the model occasionally hallucinated details of my own professional history, requiring meticulous manual verification. This triggered a deeper authorship dilemma. If AI shapes the structure, is the output truly mine? I realized that passive acceptance of AI drafts is a major threat to professional integrity. I needed a strategy to fight back. My breakthrough was shifting from viewing AI as an autonomous creator to treating it as a cognitive scaffold. I established a strict, non-negotiable loop, human to AI to aggressive human revision. Instead of letting AI have the final word, I aggressively rewrote every line, injecting my 25 years of TESOL expertise directly back into the prose. I treated prompt engineering not as a shortcut, but as a core design skill. Ultimately, I turned these threats into proof of my growth. Now, I want to offer a gift to anyone here who has ever stared at a blank screen and felt the familiar wave of portfolio paralysis. This is your 5-phase itinerary, a student-friendly guide to building your own digital handshake. Phase 1 is about finding your compass. Before you drag a single file into a folder, ask, who is this for? Are you heading towards corporate ID or higher education? Take stock of your power skills, the theories and tools you've mastered, and compare them to the job ads you're actually aiming for. Phase 2 is the art of curation. Resist the art to include everything you've ever made. Instead, follow the principle of intentional curation. Select your top 3 projects that tell a story, what I called your story arcs. You want to sow your reins. Phase 3 is building your digital home. Whether you choose Google Sites, Wix, or WordPress, keep it simple. Remember, design isn't just about the look, it's about how it works. Ensure your navigation is intuitive and your content is accessible to every user. Phase 4 is where you add the soul. Don't just show the final product, show the process. Use a simple structure. What was the challenge? What was your design approach? What was the impact? This is where you translate academic jargon into professional evidence. Finally, phase 5 is the polish. Test your links, record your mini demos, and handle confidentiality ethically. Create a leave behind PDF for interviews so you're ready the moment opportunity knocks. Building a portfolio is a marathon, not a sprint. But with this itinerary, you aren't just documenting your past, you are strategically designing your future. When you look at this slide, you see a scaffold. And when I began building a Do Design Lab, I didn't actually sit down and say, I must follow Adi. Instead, as I began structuring my work, Adi naturally occurred. It forced its way to the surface because good design demands systematic rigor. Now, I could have designed this portfolio using design thinking to focus purely on the user experience, or SAM for rapid, chaotic prototyping. But I chose to lean to the structural strength of Adi paired with backward design because I wanted to show a deliberate theory-driven process, not just a collection of pretty digital artifacts. Instead of walking you through textbook definitions, let me show you how the scaffold actually functions in reality. Analysis and design became my shield against AI fluff. Development and implementation is where the heavy lifting happened, translating those raw ideas into the interactive modules and visuals you see across my portfolio. And evaluation is why we are here, even right now. It's my systematic reflection, proving that every choice was intentional. Ultimately, this isn't just a list of acronyms. It's proof of a strategic showcase. It proves to an employer or reviewer that I don't just build content, I engineer experiences that are intentional, functional, and deeply human. Now, let's get into the heart of how we actually coexist with these tools. We often talk about AI as a binary. Either you use it or you don't. But the reality is a spectrum, which you see here as the agency versus automation scale. On the far left, we have the warning zone, generative AI automation. This is the set it and forget it mentality. It's the loss of your authentic voice. but move your eyes to the center, the sweet spot. We call this human orchestration. This is where the magic happens. Think of yourself not as a writer, but as a conductor. A conductor doesn't play every instrument, but they are responsible for the tempo, the motion, and the harmony. In this phase, your action items are not negotiable. You are constantly refining prompts, validating content, and fact-checking. Finally, we reach the far right, human agency, where our rewards are authentic voice, ethical responsibility, and authorship, not just writing. To understand how I work with generative AI, just imagine I've hired a brilliant 24/7 intern who is unfortunately a total people pleaser. Learning with it, it was the honeymoon phase. It's like having a personal cheerleader who never gets tired. It cured my writer's block and even touched up my photos to make me look like I actually sleep 8 hours at night. But learning about it was the reality check. I realized my intern has a lying habit. It's so eager to help that it will literally invent a word I never won and jobs I never had just to make my resume look prettier. It doesn't know it's lying. It just wants me to be happy. That is why human agency is the star of this slide. AI is the fantastic scaffold. It holds you up while you work, but it's a terrible architect. It provides the boost, but I'm the one who builds the house, fact checks the stories, and takes the final responsibility. The reviewer of our paper challenged us with a vital question. How do we scale these insights beyond a single context? The answer is the SCRIBE framework. This is our broader roadmap for how higher education and learning design programs must evolve to prepare students for a generative AI integrated professional practice. We are proposing a shift from teaching tools to cultivating a specific design mindset. First, we must shift the workflow. Programs need to teach scaffolding over automation, training students in a strict human AI human loop while using curation to turn boring static project repositories into highly strategic career showcases. Second, we must deepen metacognition. We need to teach future designers to use generative AI as a reflective mirror to challenge their own assumptions, paired with deep interpretation, learning to bridge the gap between cold data visualizations and empathetic, meaningful instructional choices. Finally, we must cement accountability. This means establishing non-negotiable ethical boundaries and transparency standards backed by tangible evidence, proving they can flawlessly apply multimedia principles to their own self-presentation. Scribe takes the hard-won lessons of our case study and scales them into a universal curriculum framework. It ensures that no matter how much technology changes, learning design programs will graduate human designers who remain the essential architects of the field. In closing, my transformation journey and the creation of my Do Design Lab portfolio resonate with a core principle from the field of user experience design. Design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works. This philosophy, famously articulated by technology pioneer and Apple co-founder Steve Jobs, underscores that effective design must be functional, intentional, and deeply aligned with learners' needs. A portfolio shouldn't just look good. It should be a crucible for deep learning, rigorous ethical choices, and professional growth. I'm personally no longer just an educator who uses technology. I stand before you as a learning designer who orchestrates a complex process integrating pedagogy, data-informed decision-making, and the ethical use of generative AI to create functional and transformative learning experiences. My goal moving forward is to ensure that every design I create truly works for the learners I serve. I therefore invite you to explore on your own the Do Design Lab, and I look forward to your questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Angeliki. 1853.
Okay, good.
we're not good because I'm going to be moderating the session and there are 2 more papers and we should be there for 20 minutes, including questions.
So we need about 2 minutes less.
Yeah.
I'll try to
Yes,
cut it down somehow.
although you cut it down already, maybe because you are kind of slower in delivering. Maybe
Yeah,
this
I
is
was lower this time
yeah.
because you
Okay.
know,
Yeah, that's okay.
I thought that was very quick the previous time, but I can be as quick as you want to.
Because I will have to, I will have the bitter
Okay,
thought
so either cutting down 2
stopping
minutes
you,
or being
basically.
very quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. We'll talk. Okay, now we can see you. You can start. You can stop sharing the screen, and we're able now to receive questions from the audience. Any questions you have, any comments you have about the presentation, anything. The
Just a
floor is
minute. I'm trying to
Oh,
stop share. No
Liana is
problem.
there as well. Welcome, Liana.
Hi, Anna.
Liana is attending through her mobile, walking to our school. Okay. Yeah, okay.
As usual.
So, okay, at this point here, we have Liana and Hadi, both of them finishing their studies through the thesis. So, and neither of them have dealt with the portfolio. But maybe, hi Liana, but maybe it's a good idea for you to begin with your professional website when you are done with your thesis, Hadi, and then for Liana at some point when she's done presenting and co-authoring research papers with me. Okay, now everybody else is not really close to taking a decision about the capstone, of course, but it is a nice preview for you to see kind of an advanced organizer to see where this specific option can lead you. And as you are going through the different classes, you the different courses of the LDT, you may need to start thinking how the different artifacts, how the different projects can help me to put together a nice, for instance, gallery of projects that demonstrate different aspects of me as a designer. But anyway, this is just me with respect to capstone and how you would be, I believe you should be looking at the different courses and what you can get out of the best actually that you can get out of them. But the actual focus here is Ageliki's presentation and Ageliki's capstone portfolio. And so, any question you may have, let us have it. Carla.
Yeah, thank you, Angeliki, for that presentation. Very interesting, very cool topic as well. But maybe just more on the sense of like your thoughts. Did you have any expectations prior to creating your portfolio on your personal website, I guess, and also building up, everything from this talk to your website? Like, what was your expectations? And has those expectations been met? Or
Okay.
has that changed?
I had
Yeah.
no expectation whatsoever. Even I hope what Dr. Evgerinou said right now is very important. If I had the portfolio in mind at the beginning of my studies, I would have think of every project I did as part of my portfolio. So no, I thought that whenever you do a project at DRE, you'll see that you actually want to finish it, take a good grade, but you don't actually think of it like something you're going to use later in your professional area. So no, I had no idea whatsoever. I didn't even know what a portfolio is. I didn't know anything about websites, so it was totally blank. So I had high expectations because I wanted to produce something nice and something that will get me to this area. I mean, learning designing. But there's still a lot of things because you get information, you get a lot of things out of this program, but when you have to actually apply, this is the most difficult part, application of theory. I mean, and I'm so glad I chose portfolio. Sorry for saying Dr. Evgenino, but I really think that it's really hands-on practice. I mean, is a way of presenting yourself somewhere. What do you know? And still, I have things to fix. I have things to change. I have, there are questions. I mean, if I was employed right now in an office, they would probably ask me for very specific abilities, and I should be able to respond to them. And I don't know right now if I'm ready to do it unless I do some kind of preparation, because I'm not inside the profession. I'm just outside of the profession. I have some idea, but that's it.
Yeah, that sounds great. Because yeah, for me, at least in the work that I do and that I've been doing, I kind of have the opposite, I feel. I've worked with, SMEs, and so I think this is kind of also where I'm finding where this master's is going. And maybe Dr. Avajirna, like we talked about what type of capstone I'm taking, and maybe that's what fits for me as well. So it's just interesting to hear what your expectations were before. So because when I think about, deciding on a portfolio or more an academic paper, when I think about at least in working in corporate L&D, you really have to prove your value as a designer, as a partner for SMEs. And I put it in this simple way that I'm there to help them, deliver what they know and teach others what they know effectively. Because SMEs can have all that knowledge and all of these things, and I don't expect myself to know all these topics. That would be very impossible or very impressive. But in a sense, on how can we talk to, getting and extracting those knowledge and applying it in a way that what we're learning now, or what we have learned, right, in our masters. I think this is what I've been really scratching my head around as I'm doing
true.
kind of
It's
both.
true.
Yeah.
It's true. It's not easy, the transition. And may I ask you, where do you work right now?
I work with like Go On. So mostly it's a content aggregator, so it's already pre-made content. There's some bespoke content to be made, but that's more on a client basis. But
Okay.
mostly working with curating skill frameworks for clients. So targeting all of that needs, those organizational needs for clients.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're much closer to what I did. I mean, for 25 years I had my own business, but I also was teaching English. So you're much closer to, but still, I mean,
Yeah.
I know application, it's another thing.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's not easy because you have to also, translate that to, again, the value for the business, right? Like, what does it mean? And I think there was a article I read from McKinsey study that about 40 billion or 400 billion dollars worth for corporate L&D, and that's a lot of money when you think about it. But in some ways, I also see a lot of corporate L&D. They look at training and then, they just leave it. And we know that this is an iteration process, right? We know what works and what doesn't, and then it keeps going. It needs to keep going to see the value. Fortunately, I'm not trying to make it sound so negative currently, but I'm very positive, and I try to be optimistic about where, learning can be, because I'm passionate about learning and education. So
Me
I'm
too.
very
We're in the same boat.
optimistic for everybody in the program, really. And for
So
this
really,
master's.
so what is important now from what we've said so far, that whatever you do in the master's degree, because unfortunately this master's degree is very difficult and it's very quick. So you don't have a lot of time to pause. You just have to produce every Thursday, every Sunday. You give out a lot of projects, you give a lot of things, and you don't have the time to pause and say to yourself, okay, today I've learned about this. So how can I use that in an actual case, which happens through hands-on practice during the program? It happens, but it takes some time to assimilate, all the information and all the what you actually do and so on.
Yeah, no, but I really like the topic. I mean, it's something that not just learning designers or learning architects really are facing at the moment, but also in the industry, but also all other partners, in the work that we do, we use AI and how to use it ethically and being thoughtful of, okay, what am I, how am I going to use this as a partner in the work that I do? I've seen a lot of people go into, like a slippery slope with it. So I really like that you put that ethical point there too. And there's I think an ex-colleague of mine, she's really making a point. She told me that learning is like a product and she's pushing this thought. And that really, this always, it comes back to my mind and how I myself can position learning as a product and how I can translate that to non-learning designers. And I think to me, that's the challenging part. Translating all the things that we've learned, theory, and more on the academic level, and actually applying it, out there.
And
So,
talking about portfolio, because before I created my own, I looked at different portfolios from very famous people. I didn't like most of them.
yeah,
So it's also a matter of taste. So so if you look at different portfolios, you see they don't relate to you or they don't say anything to you. The point is that you create a portfolio that relates to what you want to do.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, because when I talk to other partners or like even potential employers, right, it's 50-50. Some of them will ask for a portfolio. That's why I'm still in this mind of, should I make a portfolio? Should I make a website? But also some of them just ask me how do I handle certain problems? For example, yeah, working with SMEs who don't have a lot of time, or or if it's a topic where it's highly technical, no?
Mhm.
So, and I don't have a high technical background. So how do I go about translating all those things to make it really, really effective to learn for learners
I
in that
think this
way?
is the most important thing, what you've said right now. How do you have to show your thinking,
Yeah,
but you have to actually show it in a more pragmatic way. I mean, show them that what you do, what you can really do. This is my
yeah,
way of thinking and how this
yeah,
is how I handle situations.
yeah.
Okay,
I agree. I agree.
I know it's wonderful. It's so great to hear this discussion live. Something that I basically see through the discussion forums as a reflection and so on. But now it's much more intuitive. Okay, it's much more authentic, and it's happening. So I really love what I hear. But I have to stop you here because we've said 45 minutes. Um,
Okay.
if anybody has one more question, what would that be? Do we have anything? Or I can share something real quick. To share something real quick here. I was saying to Angeliki before that this is like hot off the press. So June 9th, we will host this session on campus here at ACJ in Athens, where you can attend those two wonderful people from University of Ohio, and they are going to be talking about learning by doing now with AI, and this is going to be a much more liberal kind of approach to liberal arts approach to AI as opposed to learning design, just learning design. So we will have the link for you to attend through Zoom. It's going to happen in the morning. I just wanted to point out that Dave Moore, a very good friend of mine, he is the son of Mike Moore, the father of the theory of transactional distance in distance learning, and it's not a session to be missed if you're around or if you can be online for us. And then the week after, which is going to be the 15th of June, then Liana, she's going to be online with us with her scaffold approach. To Liana, you want to say one thing about it? Are you there? Are you connected?
It was on the phone.
Okay. So she's going to be presenting a framework, the scaffold framework that she created as part of her thesis. And this is going to be again on how to design, taking in there she is. Say one, like, market advertise your session, Liana. Can you? Difficult. We can't hear you. You need to unmute. You are muted. Yes, we cannot hear you. Yes, there you are. Okay, real quick, and I'm going to stop recording now.